Great.
We are live. Hold on. It's just my hand. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
This all looks good.
Ooh, it says it's muted.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So do we have the live link? And then
So now it's on Facebook.
That was a very messy
Is live now?
beginning.
share the Facebook live link to my personal
Share now
page.
Oh yeah, now it's here.
We're all sharing.
Sharing.
One person is watching. That must be
Yeah, we're
Jakara.
sharing.
Our live studio audience.
Oh, look,
Yes.
Julie joined.
It's me. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
So
I
this is always how it gets started, isn't it?
Someone dropped out. Jakara. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Let's start our Facebook Live on a lovely Sunday afternoon. We were going to have you guys hide in the corner and then bring you in, and then we just went live without any warning, so
You guys just hover behind your head.
we have some surprise guests. Check them out. But before we give you guys a chance to speak, we're going to ignore you for a sec because we're going to give some updates.
Okay,
Are we really hiding them now?
We got to give some updates about, hi Mary, we got to give some updates about what we've been doing here at DATEABLE Podcast. Julie and I have been working very hard to bring you some of the best coaches in San Francisco to talk to you about how to make the best out of your dating experiences. So that includes dating profiles, coaching mindset, your outlook, also like what you wear on dates.
Mock dates.
Mock dates is very important too. And I think just overall, it's good to know that you're not in this by yourself and there's someone out there who can help you and make this experience better. And a lot of times I remember just being like really frustrated. Like sometimes you could be staring at your dating profile for hours and then you just have no idea what's wrong with it.
Because you're only seeing it from your perspective.
Exactly.
So even just someone else looking at it, especially someone that doesn't know you, is really able to kind of like give you another perspective.
Yeah, and some of the photos that you think are your best photos may not be. And most of the time, it's not your best photo. So you could always use some help. But before we get to our coaches, we want to talk about some of the recent episodes we've had. In case you guys are behind on listening to our sixth season, the most recent one we had was called Gender Blender.
Yep.
And where we talk about how, you know, like ever since we were little, we were talking about like he or she, the boy and a girl, but it's 2018. We don't need to speak in that way anymore because there's no such thing as like women's clothes or men's clothes or this and that. Like it's all blending together and we can start, you know, having a more of like a harmonious life together, you know, regardless
we had a
of
great
your gender.
guest, Ariel, so shout out to her. So that was really fascinating, just like her take on being gender queer and how like that impacts dating and all of that. So
And we learned a lot too.
yes, and we had an awesome co-host Aaron too. So
Yeah.
shout out to him too.
Julie and I finished that episode and we're like, oh my God, we got to take notes. Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure I offended someone with that and I'm never going to say that again. So it's always good to know and like open your mind to a whole other community of people who, you know, are pushing for something they're really passionate about.
Totally.
And the episode we had before that was called Open to Being Open. We had a guest on who has always been a serial monogamist, been in like multiple long-term relationships, and she meets this guy and he's only into open relationships. And in the beginning when Julie and I first met her, she's like, I'm not sure if I'm open to like sharing him with someone else. And fast forward to today, they're engaged. Yes.
I think I know who this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
When we recorded the episode, it was like the day before she got engaged. So we didn't have a chance to say that on the episode. But, you know, for like a year, she, you know, in the beginning, she was like, I'm not sure. And then towards the end, she's like, I'm really sure about this guy. I love him and we're going to try to make this work. Let's find some boundaries, some rules. And now they're in a monogamous relationship and they're getting married.
Yeah.
Fascinating story.
And then we had one other one that was recent with Kino. It was a foreign approach to dating or foreign way of dating. And it was basically someone that came, he's from the Philippines originally, has come to the U.S. in California and is just kind of clueless about modern dating, doesn't understand this whole concept of dating multiple people at once. Like literally from his early stages was like, who you date is who you're going to marry. So this is just a totally foreign concept to him. So.
And something he said to me, which I hear a lot of my international friends say, they're like, how do you guys date multiple people in the States? I can't even date like one person at a time. How do you guys balance so many people? And that's sort of his point too. He's like, I'm a one-woman man. If I'm dating someone, even on a first date, I'm only thinking about this one person. So although he's trying to acclimate himself to modern dating, I think we can learn a little bit from him too. Which is like, focus on the person you're with as opposed to like where your 6 o'clock date is going to be, right?
Exactly. So yeah, catch up if you've missed it, but we're super excited to like bring these coaches that we're going to talk to today.
Yes, let's start with some introductions. Let's start with Jessica. Tell us who you are and how do
we do a quick cheers?
Oh,
first?
cheers! Yes,
cheers first.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Hopefully you guys are at home with your champagne.
Cheers, guys.
This is actually a drinking game.
Exactly.
It's apple juice. Don't worry about it.
Hi, I'm Jess. It's me. I'm Jess Gerskis, founder of 360 Degree Lifestyling, and here to help you make your dating better and give you some good advice. So I can't wait to get started.
Yes, let's get started. And Brian?
My name is Brian Jess. I'm founder of Relationships Unlocked. It's like coaching. I've worked with over 100 clients now, and I like to derive a lot of ideas and concepts for everyone, not just from my experience working with coaches, but also a lot of research in relationships and relationship theory. And I'm a big fan of strategies, practical, executable strategies.
So this is what I think is really great about our coaches is that Jessica comes from a branding PR background. If you think about dating, that's very much like pushing out your personal brand. And Brian's very much philosophy, theory based. So if you think about like dating, there's a lot of philosophy that can feed into your dating mindset and where you want to take dating. But both of them are in very healthy, committed relationships. And in fact, Brian's fiance is here with us.
Oh, hey. Our live studio audience.
Our live studio audience. Jakara's here.
But Jess's fiance's watching.
Yes, you better be watching.
Or you're going to hear it from her if you're not watching. Let's check. Is he watching? No, but it's also good to know.
Just went up. Maybe you heard.
Oh, we just lost one.
Okay. Well, one of them is in a very healthy relationship. But it's good to. It's not just the business perspective that they can bring to dating, but it's also like the personal perspective of how to.
Tom liked it.
Tom, thank you, Tom.
Good job.
Way to show up, Tom.
Cheers, Tom.
I'm getting in there, showing proof.
But also just showing, it's great to, isn't it great to hear from someone who is in a relationship that you aspire to be in? That's also a great way to get coaching from. I always look to my couple friends that, sometimes when I look at their relationships, I really admire their relationships. And they definitely have their ups and downs, their learnings, everything, the mistakes that they've made. So it's good to share that and hear what their experience has been. So these are our two coaches. We're going to...
And we have Sasha, too.
Oh,
Sasha
right.
Silverberg, but she's out in Italy eating
How dare
pasta.
she?
And
Worst
she's
life
probably... we don't blame her for not being here today.
No, she definitely has FOMO, though. She wishes she was here.
I will say she's a very good friend and she's amazing, though.
She is
is incredible. Yes.
She's incredible.
We'll have her another time, or we've had her on the podcast, too, on Dating in the Dark.
Yeah.
So...
But I think why Julie and I wanted to bring these coaches to you guys is because we get so many emails from you guys about like, what do you think about this? Or this happened to me, or I can't believe this happened. Or it's like everybody's writing to us as a like in silo. Like you think it's only happening to you, but it's good to bring some coaches in, and one, they can bring an outsider's perspective because sometimes you need it, but two, they can also share their experiences across all clients. They've seen like the themes, the behaviors, the patterns that have happened, so you don't feel like it's just you that this is happening to.
And I think, too, like, it's great to send them one-off questions, definitely, but sometimes things don't happen just in that silo. It might be a larger discussion as well.
And what's, I'm not trying to, like, guys, get on the coaching, but I've done the coaching myself been to a coach before, and the most rewarding part for me is like if you just have like a one-off exchange, hey, can you look at my profile, what do you think? They don't really know you, so how can you really judge my profile without knowing who I am? But with our coaches, they get to know you first before they tell you, well, I really don't think this picture reflects your true personality. So it's really like getting to know each other, and it's presenting your most authentic self.
And not just giving generic advice.
Yeah. So let's give some generic advice. Yeah. Oh, Mary, thanks for sending our link. So the first question I have would be, let's go through like some common tips. Yeah. What are like some of the biggest tips you can give to people when it comes to, let's say, dating profiles, when it comes to improving your dating profile?
Great. Sure. I would say you would use the word authenticity. And I think authenticity... Excuse me?
Getting choked up over that.
I am just really...
Authenticity.
When people get authentic, it just really touches me.
So much that I cough.
But yeah, I mean, here's what's interesting. I mentioned earlier I really like practical, executable planning. I think that there's actually a spectrum. So I have a client who I worked with who was almost too authentic in one sense. I think that he was trying so hard to present such a, like, this is exactly who I am, and I knew him, and I worked with him for quite a while, so I was like, I know you're more flexible than this. I know you don't have to create all these intentional tripping lines that would cause, and I think a lot of men don't understand that women, the dating experience for men and women is different. If you're a guy, you're probably getting 3 or 4 messages. If you're a woman, you're getting 300 or 400 messages.
Correct.
And men have to be very, very careful about those little things that are just confusing. Because women will just look quickly. Any warning signs? Oh, that's an orange flag. You know what? I'm not going to take the risk. And so you got to be careful, but at the same time, within the parameters of at least being approachable, really express yourself in as authentic as always possible, and you'll see the highest return, I think.
Yeah. And you were talking about just really practicality. What we're trying to do with our profiles is paint a picture, create a story that feels comfortable and is approachable, like you were saying, to the person out there. So if you're attracting a female, something that seems a little bit like, okay, this guy's not going to murder me, that sort of thing. But in the idea of creating the story, it's like, okay, I really like sports, I like this, I like that, and this is what I'm looking for, but then also having your photos reflect that. And so a really practical tip is make sure you have tons of photos. I know it's harder for guys, but when I go out and I have guy friends, I'm like, give me your camera, I'm taking these photos, you're wearing a tux.
Yes.
Like,
this is a dating profile.
This is the time.
Photo. Yes.
And when, like I was saying before to you guys, we're always on trips for work or whatever, and you're like by the Eiffel Tower. Just give somebody your camera and say, hey, could you please take a photo of me? And I know it's a little bit maybe more embarrassing for guys, but you're never going to get that unless you just go for it. Like, ask somebody to take a photo. It's not that big of a deal.
It really isn't. I remember I was in Italy, and this guy was like, this is going to sound really embarrassing, but I need new photos for Tinder. Would you mind taking some photos with me? I was like, hell yeah, give me half an hour. And I was like, do this pose and this angle and then do this. I got so into it because I'm like, this guy could really use these photos. And that's great that he asked for that help.
And it was a little vulnerable.
Yeah, it is.
So you were just like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Any other tips when it comes to dating profile?
I would add to that because I think photos are actually really important. Photos are the first thing people see. And I think that with your photos, you don't have to just be like, I am physically attractive, and I have the golden ratio in my face, and like I have genetic signs that my children will survive, or these evolutionary signals that cause attraction to happen. Instead, I think it's really powerful to show your personality in your photos. I wish I could, but I can't because discretion is very important to me. There's one client I worked with who I looked at his dating profile before and after, and his first photos were very standard, were very uninteresting. He wasn't noticing that this like shadow spot made it look like his hair was like missing and it was like scalp. Like little things you don't think about.
He doesn't. Sometimes you just don't notice these things in your own photos because you look at them all the time, but you need a third party's perspective to bring it out.
Well, what happens is, and the dating game is very frustrating. This is what comes in the philosophy because we all throw ourselves out there wanting to get acceptance. And what do we want acceptance more than anything is the acceptance that we could be a partner, a dating, even eventually procreating partner. That's our evolutionary drive for existence. And so we put our hearts out there, and then if we were like, no one's matching with me, this is so frustrating. I work with these people all the time, like, I'm just so frustrated. And I'm like, do you realize that it makes you literally have a double chin in your photo, and you actually don't have a double chin? Let's just change the angle. Like it was actually a shadow cut thing. And not that there's anything wrong with a double chin. Not that there's anything wrong with missing parts of your scalp and your hair. But like little things.
But if you have it, don't put yourself at a disadvantage just because your photos are bad.
But what about the profile photo? What do you think is the most important element to have in a profile photo? There's a lot of argument over this. It should be a smiling photo. No, it should be a full body photo. No, it should be you on a beach. Or no, it should be you by yourself in a white room. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll just say real quickly, the answer is yes. You should have all those things. That's my stronger
in a profile. The main profile photo.
Well, okay. So the main profile photo, I believe, is if I'm going to really get scientific with it, and this is what studies have shown, the main profile should probably get about here.
A headshot.
Should be a headshot, and then we need to have a body shot.
Yes.
It looks like you're concealing something if you don't.
Yeah.
Right. People think the worst.
People are like, oh, they must be paraplegic. Like, why wouldn't they? Why can't I see their feet? Or like, and it's like, and at the end of the day, if you're very sensitive, do what makes you feel comfortable. But if you're really just trying to optimize for the number of connections, then you want to show yourself, this is my face. I'm doing something slightly interesting with my expression.
Yeah.
I have a personality. Then here's my full body. I'm doing something physical.
Yeah.
And then here's me in an interesting situation. We can have a story about this. The Eiffel Tower, for example.
Yeah.
So something that, and I definitely think the headshot is big, and making sure like the eyes look genuine, and and then of course I'm a fan of a smile. I mean, I know that there's a lot of philosophies. I want to know he has teeth and nice teeth.
I also think
I want to know he has all his teeth.
I'm with you on the smile. Like, I think like a lot of women just want someone that looks nice and like genuine. If you don't have the smile, then it might rub people the wrong way.
Or they look, you look stuck up or something. But back to the pictures, I want to make sure that guys are not, if guys are attracting women, then they're putting out there pictures that are attracting women.
Yes.
Not pictures that are attracting other guys. So if you have like your motorcycle picture and your car photo and your rock climbing photo, like that's cool. And like, I'm sure and I actually race cars, so I'm like, that's cool. But I don't need that in your profile. I want to see myself next to you. So it's kind of like you in this invisible space next to me. I want to fit in there.
Right.
So make sure that you know your audience. Like if you're attracting another woman, like a woman, then you want to do things that, show your personality. Like maybe you're cooking and make sure that's honest and genuine, but it's not all just like, hey, this is my dude photos and like I'm trying to attract another dude when really I'm not.
That's actually a really good point, because we often talk about how it's like a me versus you in dating. And when I see these profile photos, a lot of people put photos that's in like, I'm trying to sell why I'm impressive to you, versus I'm trying to show you how you can fit into my life. And that's what you were saying, right? And that's what dating should be about.
Story, right? You're going back to the story that like you're looking for something, and it's just not like me holding a beer like at the Warriors game or something like that. Like that's cool, but is that something that really paints a picture that this is my life and this is where you fit in?
And I would say the same goes for women, where I think women sometimes overcompensate and in their photos try to show how independent they are, right? All their photos are like, this is just me and I climbed this mountain by myself and I did this by myself. But I think it's all very impressive, but when it comes to dating, it should be like, the guy who wants to date you should be able to picture himself in your life and know that there is room for him in your life.
Exactly.
For sure.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah. What about...
Well, I was just going to say, I thought about smiles. You guys were talking about whether you should smile. A good recommendation, I like your recommendation, is giving someone a camera. If you want to be even another step and really be thoughtful about it, give someone you trust your camera. Give someone that you love. being around, someone who gives you good energy, and most importantly, someone who can cause you to have a nice, spontaneous, authentic laugh.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are the shots
Those are the best.
where if you get someone
Yes.
uncontrollably laughing because you're saying some weird joke behind the other side of the camera, that's when people are like, that's a real smile. That's not a fake smile.
Actually, I will say, I'm going to shout out to Meredith. We've had her on our show from the league. She takes the most incredible photos I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah?
Like, she just looks happy,
Yeah.
and smiling and laughing all the time. And like, I admit I'm not the best at photo taking, but like most of like mine are just like stiff like pose. So
Yeah,
I think there's something
pose
nice
photos are
about,
never
like,
good.
feeling natural.
And I think that's sort of our responsibility as friends.
Yeah.
So I do that all the time. I was mentioning that earlier. You're in a tux. Give me like I'm
Yeah.
gonna catch you talking to somebody with a glass of champagne, and I'll do that because I'm your friend. And so it's like just kind of like being that friend to someone else.
Yeah.
And so they can sort of return.
Well, you're
that
probably
favor.
super conscious
I'm
of
very
it.
conscious of
you
it,
are.
but you know,
That's a
I
good.
think-
That's a
I
good
just
reminder.
think that like it's a good like responsibility for kind of all of us to help each other out. Like,
Totally.
Honestly, the best photos I've seen of people on dating profiles are taken at weddings. For some reason, people at weddings, like the pictures that are being captured are them smiling, dancing, having fun, not noticing the camera.
totally.
Those
yeah, 'cause of the
impromptu
candid
photos,
shots that someone else has taken.
and everyone's dressed up and looking nice. Yeah, those are always really good photos. So if you've been to a wedding recently, ask for all those photos of yourself.
Or be like,
Now.
I want to see all your photos. / I want to see if
I don't care about you, bride and groom, but I want to see my photos. What about what you write in your dating profile, your bio? What should you be writing? How long should it be? Hard one.
I could do a quick 1, 2, 3. 2 about you know, there's some structure to it depending on what app you're on, but in general, you know, 2 things about yourself, like who you are, and then the third is like what you're looking for. If you're just doing kind of like the 1, 2, 3, and just trying to keep it simple, like as a really simple tip, but don't forget to kind of integrate that, you know, what I'm looking for sort of paragraph. It's like you have all these pictures. This is me. This is me. This is me. Like,
Well,
you know,
especially
so-
like Tinder and like some of these ones, like
Sure.
it ranges. Like some people are just looking for like a one night stand. Some
And that's
people
okay.
are
You should-
polyamorous.
yeah.
Some people are looking for a long term relationship, and it's just like it happens. So I think like like stating it is really helpful. So it helps people like weed out and like weed in the people that really
and
match.
it also gives a point of vulnerability.
Yep.
So that's what, you know, for a woman, they, again, to kind of feel safe and to feel attractive, it's like, oh, okay, like he's actually thinking about what he wants and maybe is ready.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big thing, is like, is this person ready or not? And you can tell that by sort of the authenticity of how they're putting together their profile, and then, you know, just the gist of what they're saying and who they're looking for. So you can kind of get that, even if they're not the best writers, and that's sort of where we come into play, but, you know, just kind of keeping it simple and like at least putting out there what you're looking for.
Totally.
One thing I actually do with some of my clients is I ask them to ask their best friends to write their profile.
I love that. Yeah.
And not that they have to go with that, but it adds, first of all, it's fun.
It is.
Oh, wow, that's what you think. And often, and here's what's so interesting is, talking about authenticity, insecurities can really come through in ways you don't realize. Because we're all putting ourselves out there, and we're all like kind of scared, not so sure, and that can come off. Whereas your friends, on average, think you're way cooler than you think you are. Because they know,
Otherwise, they shouldn't be your friend.
well, that's true. And they'll write something that's really authentic and genuine, and then you'll be like, huh, that's kind of
That's
nice.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Swap with your like one other single
absolutely.
friend that needs it too, and like, or
yeah.
maybe your married friends would probably
Barter.
do it in a second.
And another thing I would say to guys, especially guys, because I'm a man and I've been socialized as a man, and I know this is a problem. We think when we're dating and we're in the dating game that it's about our ego, and that we should be putting our ego out to look how awesome I am, like look how much earning potential I have.
Yes. Look at my pecs.
Look at my masculine energy.
To my car.
There's a complete misunderstanding that humans just want to be heard and humans want to be listened to. And I think that a simple piece of advice for men: make sure there's a few question marks in your profile. Make sure that you're not just trying to present, this is who I am,
I like that.
and it's all about me, and that's why we should date, because I'm so awesome. But instead, like, I want to know who you are. Let's begin the conversation.
Yeah. And it also gives women, like, especially on Bumble, I hear this from my guy friends, I matched with a girl on Bumble and she never messages me. It's true, because everyone's always looking for a talking point, and you want to give people as many talking points as possible in your profiles, right? You want to give them these questions. So if someone does want to message you, they can just answer one of the questions. It's very
it the
easy.
hook. Like, leave a hook out there. But ask, like, you can say, hey, like, this is my trip to wherever, but, like, have you seen a llama? But just like
something that's just right? It doesn't even matter.
Llamas anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter really what it is at the end of the day.
Well, at the end of the day, too, the funny thing is, you want to date someone who is intentionally looking for a real connection.
Yeah.
And if someone sees your profile and they're like, there's something about this person that intrigues me, do them a favor and give them those hooks. Do them a favor and give them something
Make it easy.
light, fun, and interesting that could spur nuanced conversations, not yes or no questions, but nuanced conversations about identity, and then you're doing them a favor, because then they know what to say at the first thing. They're like, this is especially advice for women reaching out to guys, you know? At least, except for Bumble, which it would be inverse. Whoever you expect to respond, give them something to ask you up front.
Yes.
Don't say hello. Don't ever just say hello.
Don't say hello.
But I think also, I think all this is really great general tips, but I think a lot of it, too, is probably, like, coming back to you and how you want to be perceived and just, like, what you want to put out there. And that's why I think, like, it's great to work one-on-one with people also, because you get that personalized.
And that's why you should come to our coaches, because you don't know these things until someone points them out to you.
Or asks you the right questions to get you thinking that way.
We had a guest, Sheil, on one of our episodes, and he's like an amazing person, a fabulous, but all his profile photos are of him in different parts of the world, which is fantastic, very impressive if I was looking for like a travel buddy, right? But if I'm looking for a serious relationship or a connection, I think the perception he gives off is he's always gone. He's never in town. So then he wasn't getting the matches that he wanted because it wasn't suitable for what he was looking for. So it's that perception. Like it's that am I just presenting myself to make myself look impressive, or are you presenting yourself in a way as like I'm looking for a partner? And going back to what you guys were saying, I'm thinking about like this idea of like branding yourself and your own personal brand. If you think about any of the products on the market, they all do the same things. Like, I don't know, this towel cleans and it doesn't leave any dust behind, whatever. But what is the end benefit? So if you're like, I'm single, okay, everybody's single on dating profiles, and I'm attractive, great, everyone's attractive on, whatever. But what is the end benefit you're trying to provide to your partner? So if you're like, I love cooking, that's a great thing to put in your profile, but guess what? 80% of people put that in their profile. But what's the end benefit? I love keeping my partner fed. Right? Immediately that speaks to me because I'm like, yes, I like being fed, or I like throwing dinner parties, or I like entertaining with food. Whatever the end benefit is, I think that's more compelling than like what you like to do.
So should we look at a profile?
Yeah!
So we actually, thank you so much, Jason.
Yeah,
an
Jason!
amazing listener that I've actually also been on brunches, so shout out to you. I asked him if he would mind kind of being like our subject here, and he loved the idea of getting advice from you guys, so hopefully it should be a win-win. But we're basically going to show a couple photos of Jason to the audience and then to you guys, and then get some feedback, both the good and what could be improved.
So first one.
Here's our first one. Hopefully people can see this. I don't know.
Have to click the actual.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, Jason. Okay, then also he has, my last meal would be California burrito, Corona, and cheesecake. Because this is his Hinge profile, just to clarify, and it asks you questions. So another photo of Jason.
Kind of.
That one did work?
Reflecting.
Okay. So the photo quality is probably just because of our stuff. Dream dinner guest, Steph Curry and Aisha Curry. Well, yes, they can invite Ryan and Riley. #DubNation. And then a photo here.
Closer.
Is
he shirtless?
Shirtless. On vacation. Okay. The next one is the last time I cried watching La La Land. No shame whatsoever. Tear emoji. Crying emoji.
Very vulnerable.
And then we have the laughing. It's the laughing emoji. Yes, that's what I was going to say. And then we have a photo here with his warrior gears on. Gear.
What's in his mouth?
I'm not quite sure.
It's the mouth guard, like
okay.
on it. Yeah.
Is that Steph Curry's mouth guard that you're sharing?
Is that Steph Curry that's up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you sleep with a Steph Curry on your wall?
Okay. So I'll let you guys take a quick look so you guys can provide some feedback, but we'll hear from our coaches. Again, this is a quick session. Obviously, if you met with the coaches, you would be able to express what you wanted to how you wanted to be perceived and what you were looking for and all the personalized. But
Yeah.
we'll give a quick rundown.
All right.
So maybe let's start with a couple of things that are going really well for him.
I do actually like his first photo.
Which one is the first photo
And that's
again?
the one
With
with
the
the
dog?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
So I think he's the dog obviously.
Can I just
adorable.
show this
Yeah.
photo again?
But my question is that your dog?
Is it a rent-a dog?
Is it a rented dog?
Do you know the dog's name?
Yeah. Is that even your dog?
That's a really cute dog.
It's really cute. It's really cute. I'm just curious because
He loves emojis.
Oh, apparently this is a bobblehead. That was what
what was
the
that?
last photo of Steph Curry.
Oh, got
bobblehead.
it. Thanks, Jason.
Wait, what? That thing?
Oh, that's a bobblehead? No, he's got a mouth.
No, the mouth guard. That
No,
was
he's
the
saying-
first
I don't know.
He's saying he has a bobblehead next to his bed of Steph Curry. I'm guessing it's not that photo.
Oh, okay.
But you do have a Steph Curry in your room
So
next
this
to
is
your bed.
another Steph Curry reference. Got it. Okay.
Oh, is this Steph Curry? Is the dog Steph Curry?
I think it's a really nice smiling photo with eyes, genuine. I just question if that's your real dog.
And also, do you think the dog takes away attention from him?
A little bit.
A little
I
bit.
think it's in general like, oh, cute. Click. Like it's a click. It's the click through that matters. In the first.
It's like
He looks
clickbait.
authentic. I think he
Clickbait.
looks like
that.
The reality is, if the photo of
Using that.
him wasn't that great, and it was just a photo with a dog, then I'd say axe it. 70 to 80% of what I like about this photo is that's a genuine smile.
It really
On
is.
his
Yeah.
face.
It is.
And I do think that actually having a photo with dogs and can be quite risky. There is studies that have shown that you get a higher click-through rate because of all these subconscious cues that you're sending. I'm a protector, etc. But it also can feel transparent sometimes too.
like I
And you
should
feel
be
like-
in this like dog photo.
Well, kind of like I think a lot of people know what you're trying to do.
yeah,
And that's okay if you really love dogs. But this is why I loved your question.
yeah.
Which is that your dog?
That was
Yeah.
like
If
your
it's not your
first
dog,
instinct. Yeah,
then that's it's almost like fudging the numbers on your age or
Yeah.
or your
A bait and
occupation or
switch,
something.
yeah.
It's just like, no, just be fully you.
Yeah.
And if you don't really like dogs, but the thing is, the reason I like it is that smile
smile's
tells
good.
me
The smile is
not just
really good.
That smile tells me he actually likes dogs
Yeah.
because that looks like he's smiling because he has a dog, which I think is cute. So
Yeah, he said it's not his dog. Met the golden retriever in Costa Rica. Do you know his name? I'm guessing not. But Jason, I would say this. I just cropped in your photo.
That is a
Yeah,
better
that's
photo.
Where
okay,
That's
yeah.
a better photo.
Your face is more the prize in this picture, and
Yes.
the dog is an afterthought.
Yes.
Yes.
I actually love that better. So
There we
crop
go.
it in.
Fully on board with that.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
100%.
Other
Any
photos.
feedback in general?
Well, general feedback I give is, and it's obvious Jason's listening because he's responding. So, I'll be
Jason's
careful.
here. He's ready.
And that is that I, even as a guy, I feel like this is like brodate.com.
Yeah.
And
That's what you were saying too.
That's what I
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a woman. Eventually, maybe we'll get a female submission. I can give a guy's perspective.
So
on
I
that,
actually
but-
have the same feedback. Like there was a lot of sports reference, and
Yeah.
I'm personally not like a huge sports fan, so I noticed it. But at the same time, if you, Jason, that is so important to
Yes.
you, then maybe it's okay, and maybe you'll lead people in that are really big sports fans. But I guess the question to you, Jason, might be like, how important?
How
it is
important
to you?
is it? And it
Do
looks
you want
like-
to weed people out potentially.
And specifically, you like the Warriors. That's what I'm guessing. And so, is it important for you to date someone who's like a diehard Warriors fan?
Yeah.
right? Like
So I would say, we have a photo of the Warriors. We have a dream dinner guest, Steph and Aisha Curry. And then we have another one where you're holding a mug that says Curry, which I just assume is also similar to another one. And then you just responded something about a bobblehead that we didn't even see. So far in this very few seconds that there's been like 4 or 5 references.
Yeah.
So let's bring it down.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, they have these kind of canned responses, or like, my last meal would be ... my dinner guest would be ... Like, you don't have to fill out all of them, so maybe just decide which ones are like, all ones that you really could have a good answer for.
And again, I think like we'd have to talk to Jason further to understand the warriors, but just on like this is the reality, is that anyone looking at your profile is going to make a really quick reaction.
Yes.
So us doing this here is the same difference as a girl doing it. So it really depends how much you want this to be a focal point.
I think Jessica's making a really great point. So I want to kind of double down on that and just be like, the reality is the human attention span is very short, and the amount of time that someone's going to be spending on this is an incredibly valuable currency. It's the only currency you have. You have 10 seconds to 2 minutes to show who you are.
Yep.
Every photo, every response is taking up that time. And if you only want to date a Warriors fan, and that's like the number one most important thing. You don't care what they look like. You don't care if they're 63.
Is that important to you, Jason?
then We can talk sports. Then I don't care. I don't think that's actually what Jason's looking for. I think he probably, just making a guess, he's looking for a partner that's beyond just sports. Yeah. And hopefully I think he's wasting some of that space on that. I think make 1 reference, maybe 2, but don't make 4.
That's a good point.
Idea. Throw it in, but not all.
Also, you want to come off multi-dimensional too, and this is making you seem like you are Steph Curry's #1 fan. In which case, I'm like, should I just date Steph Curry?
Maybe he's trying to match with Steph Curry.
Jason,
you're a genius. You're a genius, Jason.
Like this, like that photo, and I just think
he already matched with them. He's in the photo.
That looks like there should be a heart around those two right now.
Poor Jason. He did sign up for this, though.
Yeah,
no, he did. I mean,
I will say, by looking at your photos, like, you're really trying. Like, you don't have any selfies. You're trying the dog thing. You're passionate about sports. You have one with your shirt off, so we can see what your physique is.
What's under the hood?
I mean, I will say that you're genuinely trying to kind of to work in the space that you're given and come up with some different variety of photos. But that's also why sort of the perfecting of it and really having other people look at it, which thank you for sending this, because we wouldn't be having this. But I think, there's always room for improvement. And that's why we're here. And, I love the cropped in.
I think your photo, I know you work for Wish, and that's great, but in a dating profile, it doesn't really matter. I just cropped it in again for you. And you have such a lovely smile. I'd rather see that than where you work.
Yeah. 100%. And I mean, I think... sorry.
Oh, I just want to throw in a general thought here real quick. I hope this is helpful for you, Jason. But I do like the first photo, but once we go beyond it, every single other aspect is indicating masculinity. You have a job. Okay, great. You have a shirt that looks like it was worn at a bachelor party or something like that. That's fine. You have a mug dedicated to a sports hero. You are talking about Steph Curry and Ryan and Riley, Dub Nation. Okay, you like sports just like other masculine people.
He did bring up La La Land.
Well, no. I actually would like to make a point to the contrary, which is watching La La Land. But then he added, no shame whatsoever. And my thought is, why would there be shame in the first place? It almost is saying I'm ashamed of that in some ways. Because I am, look at him, a masculine guy who has a mouth guard in my hand and a basketball in my hands.
That's an interesting
so my thought to him is, I'm thinking as a woman, I want to not just have a guy who can like bench press 300. I also want a guy who can get deep with emotions with me. And I don't see that here. I don't see that I'm going to have a really emotionally vulnerable conversation with you. I see that you might be trying to prove that you're masculine to me for the entire relationship. And I want to know that there's more depth.
And I don't know if this is your full profile, but where does it show who you're looking for? And even if
that's also Hinge doesn't necessarily, I don't know if they do that, but
so maybe it doesn't provide that, but you could say my dream dinner guest is you and so or the woman of my dreams who is XXX. So you actually can incorporate who you're looking for in a clever way in these sort of canned.
That's true.
That's a great idea. Even if it's not an option, you can still take it and push
you
it
don't
that
have
next
to
level.
use these options. I think you can kind of choose different ones. So,
That's a really good point.
I love it.
Insert the partner.
I think it's back to that thing, like, how can someone picture their life with you? And, like, what you both just said, like, that's so dead on. Like, what am I, like, where are we going to be together?
That's a real, when you guys talk about this, when I went through your photos, Jason, I was like, he'd be a good time. We would, we probably go on a date, get a few drinks, talk about the Warriors, talk about the dog in his profile, and he'll tell me he doesn't know the dog's name, and then we move on. And then it'd be a fine date, but it might just be that. But if you're looking for a connection, I feel like there's, like, so many sides of you that you could show, like, what about your family? Are you close to your family? Do you have friends? Do you like your friends? Do you have, like, aspirations in life that aren't shown here, other than, like, meeting Steph Curry and probably being part of that family? So I would love to know.
And
like,
I know Jason is a very sweet and personable guy
because we met him in person.
I met him in real life. So
That
That's the problem with dating profiles, is sometimes it just doesn't reflect who you actually are.
Well, and again, I think we need to be really honest in these conversations around dating that we are scared.
Yeah.
We are all scared. We want to be accepted. And I kind of read the lack of emotional vulnerability as a defensive maneuver.
Absolutely.
As like if I really show who I am and someone swipes left, that's going to hurt a lot more
personal
than if I'm a trope or an archetype of some other idea.
Or it's not, I mean, it definitely could be that, or it's just, I didn't think about it that much.
Yeah.
That could also be it. Like,
I think
this
that's
is
a good majority.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody has that, that's why they chose the pictures, because subconsciously they're not wanting to put themselves in a vulnerable space. But I think just most of the people, this is not their area of expertise. Like, they don't know how to build a personal brand, and
a lot
why
of
you
that's
hire
okay.
a coach.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's true.
okay.
But a lot of times, like, I know personally, like, I don't love making my dating profile. So sometimes I'll just throw up a couple photos.
I agree.
Write a half-assed bio because I now have it up. But, like, if you really want, like you said earlier with the resume example, you would never do that with your resume. So why would it be with this?
Unlike a resume, it doesn't have to be a painful process. It can be a really fun process.
Absolutely.
You can bring your friends into it. And please do.
Yeah.
We're all either in a relationship or looking for one, for the most part. Some people are happily single. But many of us are. Your friends will get it. Oh, you want to come off with a good great. That sounds like it could be an opportunity for bonding with your friends.
Yeah.
You know, you can take them out to drinks to thank them for the favor.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can hire a coach.
Hire a coach.
Very easy.
But that's kind of the other point I want to make is when you do your dating profiles, you're only looking your own. But when you talk to coaches, they've looked at thousands of other profiles and they know exactly what most people put in their profiles, and they're trying to make you stand out. So that's another competitive advantage of hiring a coach, right? Any other things, like, let's talk about some of the mistakes, the common mistakes people make in their dating profiles. We've talked about a few, which are not enough photos or the wrong photos. Anything else that you've seen?
I have a big one. So just in general, there's a lot of hidden negativity in profiles. So be conscious of that. I mean, you know, your pictures and all of those things, those are very obvious, but the things that get hidden are some self-deprecating humor, or, you know, I had an example where my friend says, you know, I'm not fluent in Chinese, but, you know, I can order you some food at a Chinese restaurant. And I'm just like, why don't you just say, I know enough Chinese to order you a meal, let's do this.
It's a positive spin.
Keep it positive. Like, there's some hidden negativity that, you know, it really is eye-opening for the people that are, you know, putting this together. But this is why I really love to edit profiles and let them sort of, you know, write what they think is cool or whatever, but then also get to know the person, saying, okay, what did you mean by that? And oh, so you do speak Chinese? Okay, well, let's use that. That's great. Like, you put it out enough to mention it. Let's make sure it's, like, in the best light.
Right. Why have the undertone that you're not good enough at?
Exactly. And that's back to the sort of vulnerability and the acceptance.
I would add, there's always a balance between authenticity, and vulnerability, which is very valuable. and very important. And if you lack that, you're going to lack some depth in your profile.
Agreed.
At the same time, please be aware that the person looking at your profile did not live the last 25, 30, 35
Yes,
years. They don't get every inside joke.
Yes.
They don't get all the other things. And that can be an immediate thing that can kind of just transform things. Like, you make some weird joke about something, and people are just like, huh?
Yeah.
And then just like, you know what? There are 100,000 other people on this app.
Yep.
Swipe left real quick. I want to see who's next.
Yep.
And I would say save that for the first, second, third date.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember way back in the day, I got this message on Match.com, and my friend got it too. So you know this guy like
copy and pasted.
but it was like, try to decode this riddle in Morse code, and we're just like, what the
What?
Just
So neither one of us ever saw this guy, right?
The
It's
other
like,
thing,
it
too,
was
is
just like,
the goal is to emotionally bond.
Yes.
yeah.
You want to emotionally bond with someone, and I want to say this is a principle not just for online dating. It's a principle for in a relationship.
Right.
Text is the worst mode of emotional communication.
It's true.
Misinterpretation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So things that are nuanced, have those conversations in person. I think do not try to wow the socks off of someone with your dating profile. Try to get them intrigued to learn more so that they want to reach out. And then when you're meeting with them, be like, awesome, I'm glad you wanted to learn more. You just got a taste of who I am.
Right.
Let's start to eat the meal of who I am together. And I want to know about
I'm an entree.
Appetizer.
Yeah, the appetizer and the entree. I like that. But it's like then your humor can come out when you're in person, and it's not like this weird like interpretation on the app.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people think things are funny that aren't.
Yeah. You don't want to leave someone with what the fuck.
Because because they're missing
Not a good
they're
response.
missing tone.
Yeah.
And that's the
There's
thing.
no tone, and
And
they don't know.
is there
you.
such thing as too long, too short?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, what's too short?
Most guys' profiles, and too long is most females' profiles.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So try to do somewhere between those two medians. But Jessica, did you want to say something?
No, I mean, there's a fine balance, and it's an art. Like you're what we do is we're an editor, and it takes practice, and it takes I came from a publishing world where I was publishing magazines and editing things so they're clear and concise and to the point, but intriguing and interesting. So yeah, there's definitely a balance, and again, like not everybody is good at it, and that's okay. And so we're here to help.
Totally. And I think the other thing to note, like obviously we have the dating profiles, but we also have just coaching too.
Yes.
So if you want to go a little deeper, let's say you are going on tons of dates and your dating profile is actually okay, but things aren't working out, or there's something else getting in your way, you can always chat with a third party too.
And you can also do a mock date. Too.
Yep.
Yes.
It's very helpful. I've taken many guys out to venues and just like taught them how to interact with people, because some people have a hard time with that. But then the cool thing is, once you kind of learn a few ideas, you break down that confidence issue. I've always been amazed with even just 2 or 3 sessions. I can take a guy who's very unconfident and they just break through that barrier, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a voice. I can project myself in a way that's attractive, and just like it's this revelation that they can be in touch with a whole new side of themselves. And sometimes it only takes a couple hours of being told yes, and here are a couple strategic ideas, so you don't fall over yourself. But here's how you can line yourself up for success.
You never get feedback on a date. So
No.
that's why
That's
it's
huge.
interesting.
It's so important, because the dating profiles are important to get the foot in the door, but you still have to live up to your dating profile. So your dating profile presents the best side of yourself, but you may not always be that on a date, right? So
Or you don't want to go to a restaurant and the app is amazing, but the entree sucks.
yeah, exactly. So you want to take it deeper, and then you also want to live your best self every day, not just on dates, but every day. And that's where the coaching comes in. The coaching is so important. I really think it's so important, because you really need an objective perspective about what you're doing right and wrong. And your friends aren't really able to provide that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in a weird way, friends can also be in competition with you, and not, I don't know, and not really get to the meat of what you're trying to say, because they might be embarrassed. I mean, sometimes you're embarrassed in front of your friends to this is what I really mean. One thing that I feel is it's really important to be aligned with yourself before you're on these apps and starting to date. Just kind of saying, what is it? Take a step back and take the time to figure out what it is I want and what it is in my heart, in my mind and in my body that is prioritized in finding a partner. So you can actually prepare yourself for these dates. I mean, if my thing is like, I want a guy that's, you know, well educated, comes from a good family, etc., and is attractive, so maybe like that's one of my top 3 or 5, and you know, I have sort of a program to kind of go through that for those that need it. But it's like, okay, on our first date, it's, you know, I believe you can go on 10 dates, 20 dates with one person and get along. Like, drinking is involved. You can get along. It's easy. It's fine. But once you start getting, like, maybe you start having sex or whatever, but you start getting chemically attracted to this person, and they might not be the right person because you haven't asked the right questions to begin with, and now you're trying to save a relationship that shouldn't have even started. So really getting to the meat of like what you're looking for and being aligned with what that is before coming into dates, and saying like, tell me about your family. Like that's really important in my, you know, or do you have a close relationship with your mom? Something like that. And then if it's a red flag, then you go, oh crap, it's a red flag. Or you say it's a red flag, let me ask a few more questions to see if it really is a red flag. So it's not like just a dismiss, like if they don't check a box. But then you have the opportunity to learn more. And I don't believe in small talk. I believe in big talk. Like let's get to it.
I want to give you a fist pound because I agree with absolutely everything you just said. Right on that.
Our coaches are agreeing. This is a thing. I want to say this, and I think this is very important. This is a no judgment zone, and that's why when you come to coaching, it's not about like, our coaches aren't judging you for what you want, but they're trying to figure out what it is that you want. So if after a 30-minute session or whatever, you realize what I really want is to hook up as many people as possible, that's okay. All right, we will do your profile to attract that kind of person. If what you want is to get as many matches as possible, okay, that could also be an end goal. But some of you are actually looking for a connection or relationship, and that profile also feeds into what you're looking for.
And we talked about this. Sometimes it's not quantity of matching all the time, like it's quality also. So even like if you see like a decrease in matches, that might not necessarily be a bad thing if you're getting the right people.
I want to jump on that because I'm really glad you guys are saying that. We talked a lot about dating profiles, and I think that's an important part of the mix. But we have to ask ourselves, what are we going for? So there's two things. An earlier point I wanted to make was basically that whole idea of what are you looking for? If you're looking for matches, there's an effect that happens when you get matches. It's a dopamine hit. It's a literal,
vanity swipes.
It's a little neurological response. And if that's what you're looking for, that's great. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for something deeper, that's what you do. So my biggest recommendation is be really open and communicate and vulnerable out there with your friends who know you best that you're looking. A lot of guys don't do that. And the thing is, there could be something right under your nose. Your friend's friend, or even your friend's friend, who is a great match for you. And your friends are your best dating app. And I recommend to all my clients, choose your 5 to 10 most trusted friends, take them out to drinks, tell them that this is a serious thing, that you're taking very seriously, you want a good match, and you're really leading with intentionality. It will be refreshing to your friends.
We do the same when we are looking for a job, right? We tell all of our friends we're looking for a job. Why don't you do the same when you're looking for a partner?
But it feels like closeted for some reason.
And it's more enjoyable when you bring your friends into it, because then you have emotional sojourners. People who are on the journey with you. On the ups and downs, you're like, hey, I need to talk to you. This dating went awesome. Like, oh great, let's celebrate. Oh my God, you were the one who helped me get connected to that person. Like, it just makes it more fun, more community driven.
And do you know who are the people who love setting you up the most? People who are in relationships. These people.
Because they don't have a competition.
They freaking love it. They love setting people up. So hit up those friends. And our friend Kiana just said, agreed, it's a cute photo. So Jason, our friend thinks that you have a cute photo. She just moved to New York, but just saying, you can look her up. Live matchmaking.
And she loves sports.
And the Warriors. And she loves dogs with no name. She loves Costa Rica. There you go. Okay, we're going to wrap this up because an hour has already passed. I can't believe it. But if you are interested in coaching, if you have questions about coaching, you can reach out to us. But you can book directly with Brian or Jessica or Sasha on our our website, dateablepodcast.com/coaching.
Yep.
And we have a new episode coming out next Wednesday. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but trust me, you'll want to
It's a good story.
You'll want to listen. And Julie and I have been working on this other episode later this season. I know I'm being so mysterious about this. It was so eye-opening for the two of us that I think it's going to take about a week or two for us to decompress and digest what just happened. So just a little warning. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for coming
Thank
to
you.
share your wisdom with us, and good luck to you guys. We're all in this together. You're never by yourself. If something's happening to you right now, chances are it's happening to someone else in the world. So just know you're not alone in this, and we can all be in it together. Jason, thank you so much for sharing your profile photos with us. If anybody's interested in meeting Jason, you can go to Wish or contact us.
Or any of your Warriors games.
Or Steph Curry's house.
If you have extra tickets, let Jason know.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's right. And we will see you guys very soon for another Facebook Live later next month. All right. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye y'all.
Bye.
Bye.